My name is Kate Bealey and I work for the Investors Chronicle, which is a part of the Financial Times, and I'm the personal finance reporter. My job includes writing about personal finance issues, so pensions and savings and all of those kind of things, but then I also write about investments. So the job entails kind of meeting contacts, people in industry, talking about the markets with people and what that means for my readers, and then writing that up. So I also do podcasts and kind of video work as well. I chose Kingston University because I was looking for a course which had both the Masters and the NCTJ, which is a National Journalism Qualification. So I knew I wanted to do both, and there weren't that many places to do it. And I definitely heard people talk about Kingston, so I knew it had a really good reputation. It also wasn't as expensive as some of the other courses, which was important to me. And I knew that a lot of the lecturers, I either recognised their names or I knew that they came from industry, which again was an important factor for me. I think Kingston's a great location because it's in London, which is really important. But you know, slightly outside, you're on the river, so that's very, very nice. There's a lot of good pubs, a lot of places to go out and shop. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's easy to get into London, but it doesn't have the craziness of being in central London. And the atmosphere at Kingston it's really friendly, actually. It's got a real kind of buzz about it, and there's definitely just everyone gets along and everyone's very willing to help you out. My undergrad was not quite the same in terms of it's harder to get in touch with lecturers and they were always very busy. But at Kingston, people are willing to just have a chat with you. You can always knock on their door, which actually is really great when you're doing masters, because you do need a bit more of that kind of one-on-one time. I think the things I really remember from my course are obviously the people and the lecturers. I mean, we used to have a really good time. I remember going to the pub quite a lot, but I mean, highlights in terms of the course, and we were there a lot, is hard work. But were things like the public affairs course, where we got to kind of go to Parliament, and we used to watch PMQs every Wednesday, which I think is great. And then business journalism, that was a real highlight too. And it's obviously been directly helpful to me in this job. So my first job after graduating from Kingston was a short-term one, but at a local paper, which I started doing as work experience. And then I did that for a couple of months afterwards. And they did offer me a job, but then I actually went on to a legal trade magazine as a news reporter. So I did that for a bit over a year, and then I came here in January. Kingston was fantastic in terms of finding a job. I mean, they definitely helped me get onto the work experience at the local paper. I wouldn't have got it if I hadn't been at Kingston, I don't think. And then I was actually, my first job, the legal magazine, was kind of suggested to me by one of my lecturers, who put me in touch with the editor. So I think Kingston's directly responsible for my first job, yeah. I think the most useful skills to me now, which I learned at Kingston, are things like shorthand. I couldn't do my job without shorthand. You just need to be able to write very fast, and so that's great. But also things like news writing, learning to structure stories, and just learning how to kind of speak to people, how to make contacts. I think those are all skills that have been really useful to me. For people thinking about applying to Kingston, I would say it is a really good option because it does have the NCTJ, which is important to employers, particularly if you're going into news and local news. But it's also a master's, and I actually think doing both is very important, because journalism is an industry which is really changing at the moment, and it's helpful if you can talk around some of those big issues, and the master's was great for doing that. The lecturers at Kingston were fantastic for kind of making you think about the wider issues in journalism, but also for giving you really practical, a great education how to be a journalist.